Hello, everybody, and welcome to Theories and Beeries. This is a semi-regular podcast that we sit down and talk about theories and drink a couple beers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, start off, he's Cole,
And that's Wyatt.
and we're going to be talking about some cartoon conspiracy theories today. So, first of all, what are you drinking?
Today I got a nice little Hefeweizen. It's called Miner's Gold. It's by Lewis and Clark Brewing Company. It's a can. I like Hefeweizens. They're pretty good. What about yourself? Your audio cut off again. Still off.
How about now?
Much better. Yeah, these snowball mics,
Okay.
their cords don't really do very good.
Yeah, I literally bumped my cord and it just turned off.
Yep.
Anyways, I'm drinking a Red Hook Big Ballard Imperial IPA by the Red Hook Brewery. Born in Ballard, 1981. Yeah, sure, you betcha. That's what
Oh,
it
yeah,
says.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's really good. So, anything that made you go, huh, this week?
There's a couple things, nothing too big, really. The main thing has been this Rocco's Modern Life thing I've been kind of working on back in the old head of mine, as you can see from the pictures here. Another thing is I've been kind of listening to a couple different theories about, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog, trying to get myself versed with that a little bit. What about you?
Just been trying to get into some really interesting headspaces, just kind of getting into the major conspiracy theory headspace.
Right. Like the normie conspiracy theory guys.
Yeah, well, that and then a little bit of weirder ones.
Right. Right. That's what I meant, like normie,
kinda-
because
Oh, I get you, I get you. Yeah, no, just trying to figure out like how you get there, like you
Yeah.
know, the whole how you get the whole cork board with the lines and whatnot.
I've got one of those coming. Amazon.
you know. So, yeah, you want to just dive into it?
Yeah, let's dive into it. So I guess I'll start off and talk about a little bit about the Rocco's Modern Life thing that I've been kind of working on. So I've seen a couple theories about Rocco. One that it's all just like a weird fever dream, like he's asleep the whole time because of the intro. If you remember in the intro of Rocco's Modern Life, it has like a weird fever dream type scenario that's going on. There's like toasters and stuff that's popping up and he's running through stuff. But mine's more of he kind of like made a safe haven in his head for basically just living a boring life.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that intro that you were saying, everything's popping out of his head.
Right.
So I mean, there might be some truth to that,
Well,
to be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, the majority of the theory right now that I'm kind of just working at, I've been watching a couple episodes to see if it actually sticks, but is like, he works a 9 to 5 crap job in like an office, and this is him trying to like cope with the boring and monotonous life that he has.
And that would make a lot of sense considering that most of the show revolves around him trying out different jobs. So,
Right.
I mean, if this really is in his head, he's, trying to figure out, like, do I really want to sit here and do this my entire life?
Right. Yeah.
An episode that really sticks out to me is the Big Head episode that he keeps moving up in corporate ladder.
Yeah. Right.
Was that Big Head? That was Big Head.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's just the same thing every single day. It's just stamping a piece of paper and, you move. Oh, man, you're on floor 56 right now. You're on floor 57 tomorrow, man.
Stamp the paper.
So, yeah. And then eventually gets to be CEO and he gets fired. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Might be too far off from that.
Yeah. Another thing I really like about Rocco's Modern Life is that it's so not a children's show really if you watch it. I
Oh no.
remember the one episode of like the Big Head with Mrs. Big Head where she like was trying to seduce Rocco because Mr. Big Head wouldn't pay attention to her and stuff. That one always stuck with me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then he comes over. I think he comes over as like a plumber or something.
Some I don't remember. It was a really wacky episode. If any of the
Yeah,
listeners out there
comes
have
over.
not seen it, they should definitely go check it out.
Oh yeah. It's a great show, and it's on it's actually on Verve.
Right.
So, not non-spawn, but uh, it's pretty cheap. So
Yeah.
might as well. Um,
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Courage
I
the
guess.
Cowardly Dog one next?
Yeah. Right into one of our favorite shows.
Yeah.
You grew up watching it, and then I grew up watching it after you. So.
Right. Yeah, it was honestly one of my favorite shows as a kid. I would watch every episode because as a kid I really liked monsters and scary stuff. I still do to this day. But Courage really resonated with me with that because of all the creatures and stuff that you saw on the show.
Yeah, it just scared me shitless. So I mean,
Well,
thanks for that. But it is a really nice entrance to like this weird show, like stylish show that the '90s had.
Right.
It's I'd say one of the more tamer ones at the beginning, and then it like during the ending, it kind of gets into it. So, so what's this theory?
So the main theory that a lot of people like to flock to with Courage is that honestly, the whole entire show is basically in his head because he's a dog. So the people he meets, the things he sees are all blown way out of proportion because, well, he's a dog. And, you leave a dog at home for an hour and they think that you leave forever, right?
Right.
Right.
I know how that is.
Yeah, so I mean you take him living in the middle of nowhere. If he goes outside, there's literally nothing around him, right? And that's just because he's a dog and doesn't know what's beyond where he lives. Beyond where he lives doesn't matter, right? It's nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that small area that he knows that this is my toilet.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
And then like all the people and stuff, like their exaggerated features, their creepiness and all that. Again, it's through the eyes of this dog, and it's just the way that he views these strangers and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and some stereotypes in there as well.
Mm-hmm. And another thing,
dogs will blow that out of proportion.
right? Another thing it kind of pointed out is that this also kind of explains why Eustace forgets what happens to Courage in every episode because nothing's really wrong,
Yeah.
Like he sees all these things happening, and then the next episode Eustace and Muriel are like they're just like nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. So like any episode that has like animal in it, obviously Courage is going to freak out because he's never seen that before.
Yeah.
And just completely blow it out of proportion when Eustace and Muriel are like, that's weird. Some ducks.
Some ducks, right?
Interesting.
Right. I just recently watched the episode today with this little mask and the bunny, the kitty and the bunny or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
That one was pretty good. It was really heavy on like the what do you call it? Like the mafia theme. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, the mafia theme, and then also like very progressive.
Yes.
Time.
Yes. What about you?
No,
That's
really
what was your favorite episode that you can remember of Courage?
The one with the squids.
I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, it's such a weird one. It's got this real weird surreal vibe to it. Like the whole show does.
Right.
But like this particular episode, there's like these squids that just fall down from the sky. They're stars, I guess, and then Courage just he just doesn't know what to do with them.
Oh,
so
I
he
think
like nurtures them one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Okay, I kind of remember that one. One of my favorite episodes is the one with the like duck from outer space or chicken or whatever. Remember that one?
Are we talking like? Man,
He
there's a couple of them.
he like lays the
There's
radioactive eggs.
yeah,
That
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
That,
you
and
know,
then of
I
course
mean,
the creepy guy, whatever his name is. The you can see his hair right here in the video.
oh,
Ned or whatever his
the
name is.
yes, Ned,
Yeah.
which is Muriel's brother,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Which makes sense if we're going back to the whole theory thing that why Courage would freak out about it because he doesn't know this person. You
No.
know,
And
weird person coming up to him.
and he might be a dog groomer,
No.
like, you know what I mean? Like, he might be an actual
Oh
dog
yeah,
groomer that comes over and wants to shave Courage, and this is how he sees it.
yeah, yeah. No, it's and then everything is just so weird with how it starts off with something that's semi-normal
Hmm.
and then it just completely twists it and turns it. I mean, I remember episode with the beaver that
Right.
wants to yo-yo professionally. Like, it makes no sense in your head, but if you're thinking like a dog with like an imagination and all the time of the day, I mean, that could have been a 5-minute, encounter that he blew out to be like 3 hours.
Right.
You know, it's this I think is one of the more valid
Yes,
theories
me
that
too.
I've seen
Me too.
because it's kind of I think that's kind of what they were going for
Yeah.
when they made the show.
Like, especially, like,
Honestly,
when he goes to, excuse me, he goes to, like, a bar in that episode with the bunny and the kitty, and in the bar is this giant rat that's, like, the bartender. You know? And so,
yeah, the giant.
it's like, it's like, okay, what makes him think that this is a giant rat? You know, some big, fat, sweaty, hairy dude behind the bar. You know, that's, I don't know.
Yeah, some big fat, a hairy, sweaty dude with like a really long face. Just yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, even Eustace and Muriel. I mean, Muriel's this like is the only character that looks normal.
Right.
You know, even even Eustace, his adopted dad, just he looks so lanky and gross.
And weird.
But I mean, it makes sense because if Courage is naturally drawn towards Muriel,
Right. She's gonna look the most.
yeah, the most welcoming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention Eustace's mother. That I mean, there's obviously going to be similarities between mother and son,
Right.
but they look exactly the same,
I know. One just has like a wig
but
on.
smaller.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's going to blow out of the proportions of
Yeah.
like what he picks out at Eustace and be like, oh yeah, no, they're the same person.
All right. So what's up next?
So, next, and there's just so many good ones, but I think we need to go to kind of a bad one.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to touch on the SpongeBob SquarePants is based off the Seven
Oh,
Deadly
that
Sins.
one. Yep. I do not have a picture for
Yeah.
that, but we'll just.
Oh yeah, just a little in between here. This one is kind of bad, mostly because its main linchpin,
Right.
in my opinion, its main linchpin is that Krabs represents greed. Okay, so going down the list of the Seven Deadly Sins, SpongeBob is lust, Squidward is wrath, Sandy is pride, Mr. Krabs is greed, Plankton is envy, Gary is gluttony, and Patrick is sloth.
Yep.
So I see the Patrick thing. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Gary, I can kind of see with how much food he eats.
Yeah.
Plankton's okay, but I think the main reason why people chose this one and kind of revolved around it was Mr. Krabs is greed. He's
Right.
nothing but greed.
Exactly. He's like the embodiment of that.
It starts to really fall apart with Sandy's pride.
Yeah. They say it's because she's like, I'm proud of my Texan ways, you know.
But even so, I mean, she
She works with other
to go
people.
to go to a, yeah, that and to go to a really bad episode of SpongeBob, the episode where SpongeBob is just laying into Sandy about her being Texan and like a squirrel. She's hurt.
Yeah.
She's hurt by that. She's very, she's embarrassed.
Yeah, I remember that. She like stops coming out or whatever, and she just kind of stays in her place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, somebody who's prideful
doesn't get hurt.
Would, that would get a kick out of it and be like, yeah, talk more about me. But the Squidward is wrath. I mean, if anything, he's apathy. He hates everything around him because he just doesn't want to exist. He is an adult.
Yeah.
And then SpongeBob is lust. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. Come on.
Right.
Oh.
I mean,
it says
in the classical sense of lust, no. But the way that they're trying to grasp at it, fine. He accepts and loves everybody, whatever. Now, the one that I'm a little more towards is that they all represent drugs.
So what is this one? You were talking about it a little bit before the show.
So there's a theory that I've seen just kind of thrown out there just as a hey, check this out type of deal. It's like each one of these main characters represents a drug of some sort. So SpongeBob is a meth head. Okay. He's always crazy and
all right.
Can't really, he has ADHD basically. Patrick is a stoner.
Yeah.
Squidward does heroin.
Okay. Yeah. Nice little downer.
Yeah. Mr. Krabs does cocaine.
Okay. He's always worried about that money.
Yep. Sandy is an alcoholic. And I quote because it says she ruins every episode she's in.
I mean, they're not wrong.
And Plankton is like on PCP or Angel Dust or something.
It's on PCP or Angel Dust or something. I mean, okay. I mean, I get it because he's in his computer.
Right. And Gary is Quaaludes.
Gary is Quaaludes. Wow, that's a dated term, man.
Yeah, I mean, they don't exist anymore, but...
Dude. You're getting on some ludes, dude.
I guess Oxy, whatever you want to call it today.
Some Oxy. Yeah, no, I get it, because he's just kind of absent.
I guess antidepressants or something, maybe. I don't know. Like some heavy shit.
Something, dude. Yeah, some uppers, downers, lefters, rights, inners, outers.
So, I mean, that's the one I kind of lean to more just because, I mean, it's a little more loose with the terminology. It's not like, okay, so a deadly sin, you have to be that thing to a T, like exactly that, right? And drugs aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, going to like another cartoon comparison, if we're looking at like representations of deadly sins, I mean, it's not really cartoon, but it's anime. Right. Full Metal Alchemist. Right. I mean,
you can't get more obvious than that.
No. They completely represent the thing that they're supposed to be. But like with this, it's like you're saying because one of their personality traits is that they're this.
Right.
Is that they are this, So plus that would make Bikini Bottom hell and
and I don't want to get into that.
Who's Lucifer?
That's for another theory. It's the hash-slinging slasher, man. Yeah. He's Lucifer.
Oh my goodness. We just uncovered some juicy ones.
Some stuff, man.
Alright, what's next? Come on, tell me.
The next kind of interesting one was saying that the Flintstones is actually set in the future. Like, even further of a future than, say, the Jetsons.
Okay.
Because, I mean, how do you say that word? Canonically?
Yeah.
Canonically, the Jetsons and the Flintstones are from the same universe. They're from the same timeline, basically. And there was...
The Hanna-Barbera extended universe.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. And then there was an episode of Jetsons Meet the Flintstones where the Jetsons wanted to travel further into the future, but the machine broke and it sent them to Bedrock. A lot of fans speculate that, this didn't actually happen this way. That it didn't actually break. It looked like it broke, and then it actually projected them further into the future than they wanted to go. And so, Bedrock is basically this post-apocalyptic future that they live in.
You know, I kind of see that because Bedrock isn't specifically stated that it's pre-man.
No.
It's just, hey, there's dinosaurs, there's humans, there's, you know, there's all this stuff happening all at once, which is, I know this was back when creationism was a super popular idea, but I mean, if we're kind of building off that, it can kind of be dinosaurs and humans co-evolved in this post-apocalypse, you know, or even the dinosaurs aren't even dinosaurs; they're mutated
lizards,
you know, reptiles.
Yeah. Another thing that they kind of pointed out in this little theory of theirs is like, this is why like some of the modern inventions that they used to have, like cars and vacuums and stuff like that, the idea is still there. That's just being used in their own way. So like, you know, this could have been like a story of a car was passed down this far and then they ended up making one. You know what I mean?
And you know, that's not the first time Cartoon Network. Well, I guess that is the first time. It would have been the first time, but I mean, Cartoon Network would have gone back and taken this idea further with the Samurai Jack series and Powerpuff Girls. You know, setting them in the same universe, just pushed forward in time.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna move on to another time jumping theory here, and that is
like time travel.
Yeah, and that is the theory of Aladdin.
Okay, I haven't heard this one.
So this one's kind of loose. So I mean, bear with me a little bit here. A lot of people like to say that Aladdin is the Agrabah of Aladdin is actually a post-apocalyptic area that reverted back to a simpler time. Do you want to know what the linchpin of this is?
What is the linchpin?
The thing the entire theory is built around is the genie.
Okay. It's built around the genie.
Yeah, because he makes pop culture references throughout the whole movie. Things that would have happened in our past. See what I'm saying? I know, like I said, this one's really loose. This one's really loose.
That's like grasping at straws, man.
Yep.
I mean, with the Flintstones one, I see it because they have drive-through, they have alarm clocks, they have, you know, like time clocks, dude. I mean, but oh man, that genie.
Right. Well, I mean, he would always make just these pop culture references that if they were from back when Agrabah was supposed to be, you know, they wouldn't have known these pop culture references, right? But then there's the other side. True. There's the other side of that, though. He's a genie. He's an all-knowing entity of the universe. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
The whole string theory.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try to get in this like little mind space here these people are in. So it's post-apocalypse Agrabah.
Yes.
Okay. Now Agrabah is that's not a real place, is it? It's not a real physical place. Right?
As far as I know, no.
If I'm correct, it's based off of like Baghdad and whatnot.
Yeah.
If I remember, and I'm probably wrong, but don't quote me. So this happened after like a World War III or something. Mm-hmm. Raised Earth because any bit of technology that was left over, any bit of like machinery, warhead, whatnot, we would have seen. We'd have seen something in there. There's no cars. There's no guns. There's no bullets. There's no bullet casings. There's nothing. Like
right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, so sandstorms.
Yeah. So, but like raised Earth, like this entire area is just gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for the same things to happen and then build back up into a like, what would you say, like 1200s like
Even
Iraq. I mean,
I mean, even before, yeah. I mean, it's primitive. There's nothing
yeah,
at all.
but I mean, like also keeping the same language. I
Yeah,
mean, bizarre and uh, genie. You know, obviously that's an Americanized of Jin, but
yeah,
I mean, it's pretty graspy.
yeah.
Pretty.
I thought it was too. And then there's also another side to the story, the theory, the complete opposite, the tail side of the heads, is that Belle reads a book about the genie in Beauty and the Beast. So then that proves that it's in the past from Beauty and the Beast. So
Yeah. Well, and then Disney also likes to link their movies together. Well,
yeah.
they did, and then I don't know, they're kind of weird with how they do their movies.
So the final
That's
theory,
another thing.
the final theory of this one though, there's three. So the future, the past, and this one, the entirety of Aladdin was completely made up by the merchant just to sell you the lamp. That's it.
Now that I believe in.
Me too.
100%.
Me too. Because that's how it starts.
I believe in this for one reason only. Who voices the merchant?
I don't remember.
Robin Williams.
Really?
Robin Williams voices the merchant. So, Genie, the one that can make all your dreams come true,
Is the
is
yeah?
the same voice as the person that's trying to sell you the lamp.
Wow. That's okay. Okay, I believe it more. I mean, I believed it already, but I believe it more now.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorites because it's one of those that's like, oh, is this fact or is it fiction?
Right.
Ooh, spooky. I mean, and then the Aladdin cartoon came and ruined it. So.
Yeah. All right.
And then also Aladdin 2.
Okay, on the same story as Disney here, we'll just kind of move on with Disney's stuff. You were talking about how the timelines and the relationships of people in Disney.
Yeah. How they're kind of all connected.
Yeah.
In some sort of way.
So how are some of those connected?
So I mean, we actually have some that just came out this year. So like, that Tarzan is the long lost brother of Elsa.
Right.
So that one just kind of came out this year. It's been kind of circulating ever since Frozen came out, but
Yeah.
they kind of confirmed it.
I mean, it makes sense, to be honest.
Yeah, so Tarzan's mother and father were the king and queen, who were sailing over to Rapunzel's coronation. I think it was coronation.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, it was coronation. And on the way over, they took a wrong turn at Albuquerque and crashed.
That's Looney Tunes.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not connected yet. Trust me.
We'll get there.
But then they crash. The queen was pregnant with Tarzan. She gave birth. And then, if you've ever seen Tarzan, you obviously know that they did not survive.
Mm-hmm.
And then Frozen starts. So that's one of the thoughts. So the thought would be that Elsa and Anna are like 20 plus years older, or maybe it's like 10 plus. I can't remember. It's something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. I think it's 10.
But they're older, and Tarzan's the younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
little boy. There's that one, and then also
You cut out again. Technical difficulties number 2.
darn Blue Snowball. I love this thing, and I hate it.
Right.
Oh, awesome. And I've also not been recording my voice, apparently, every time it cuts out. All right, whatever. We'll figure it out in post. So, like we were saying, Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast are obviously connected with the whole book thing.
Right.
So
They like to pepper little things, here and there, most all their movies to kind of tie them together.
now with that, I think Belle was reading the Arabian Nights story.
Yeah.
So, whether or not Aladdin is fact in Belle's world, or it's just like in our world, it's just a story.
Right.
Then with Hercules and the Lion King, poor Scar becomes a rug.
Oh, right. What is that in?
Yeah. Uh, that's in Hercules. Yeah. He becomes a rug.
I didn't know.
In the training montage.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember this now. Yep. Yeah, it's actual Scar. Like the scar is on his face. So then, like,
Actual Scar.
so the Lion King happened in like ancient times. Then, like,
Well, yeah. So like the theory is that it happened during ancient Greece,
huh?
and so the whole, let's see, Romans did the Pantheon, right?
Yeah.
Not the Pantheon, the gladiator arena,
Oh
right?
yeah.
I can't remember if Grecians were like going down to Africa.
Oh yeah,
like,
of course. That's what they did. They
lions.
they took, I mean, a huge amount of animals and trapped them and put them into the gladiator games.
I know that Romans did it, but I didn't know if Greeks did.
Yeah.
Because Hercules is set in Greek.
Yeah.
So, oh no, absolutely. Because with the Greek myths of like the what is it? There's the boar, and then there's also the manticore.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like all these things that
The Hydra, the
would have
Chimera.
had to, yeah. So with that, with Scar becoming a rug. Sorry, we went off on a tangent there. That was fun.
It's all good.
The whole Scar becoming a rug is a reference to Zazu saying to Scar, he'd look good as a rug. And he becomes a rug. So, which also has implications that when Scar fell off the cliff, he didn't burn to death.
Right.
He just died, and then
Or maybe he got maimed.
past that, maybe, but then also that
Because
somebody from Greece went to Africa, found a dead lion body, skinned it,
and then made a rug. See, that's why I said he probably got maimed then. So if he was lame and he couldn't run or anything anymore, then that kind of, I can see that more, to where somebody from Greece goes to Africa to capture these animals for their fights, sees a lion, and is able to catch it because it's hurt.
That makes sense, because with like the primitive technology that the Grecians have, is it Grecian? Greco-Roman.
It sounds right to
Greco.
me. I just, yeah.
With the technology that they had, spears and what is the name of that darn thing? The thing with the arrow that you go whoop
The atlatl?
with. Yeah, the atlatl. Yeah. With all that sort of technology, they wouldn't have had. They wouldn't have been able to take down a lion.
Right.
Like kill it.
With the atlatl, you definitely could. That's what they were designed for.
That's true. And then there's also, all the other civilizations that were happening in Africa at that time.
Right.
That were traveling around trading. So it also could have been a skin trade.
That's true.
Yeah. No, I never thought of that one. Interesting. And then, of course, Kingdom Hearts is...
It's just, it breaks all canon. It doesn't matter.
Ties them all together.
Right.
All right. Though we do know that Scar is dead, like, after the events of The Lion King.
Yeah.
Because of The Lion Guardian, which is a really weird kids' TV
Not
show.
great. Because they're magic or whatever.
Which you should... Yeah.
It's just, forget that one happened.
Yeah. Let's see. What other Disney movies are tied together? I know that...
So these aren't really Disney movies, but we can talk about the Pixar ones.
Oh, yeah. All Pixar movies are tied together.
Yeah.
That's absolute fact.
Yeah, but they have the kind of the timeline now.
Yeah, with The Good Dinosaur being the first.
Right.
Because that's dinosaurs.
Yep, so it was like Good Dinosaur, then Brave, then The Incredibles. Yep. Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Ratatouille, Toy Story 3, yep. Up.
Yep.
And then Cars, Cars 2, WALL-E, A Bug's Life, Monsters University.
Now, technically, Up should be on that list twice.
Why is that?
Because the beginning of Up, it's events of can't remember his name. The old man.
Right.
It's life events of him.
Okay.
So technically, that's all happening throughout this timeline. But yeah, you were at Wall-E.
Wall-E, A Bug's Life, Monsters University, and finally Monsters Inc.
Okay. A Bug's Life is after Wall-E.
Right. So the Earth is
How does that make
destroyed.
sense?
The
Okay.
first thing to come back would be bugs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Because in Bug's Life, they don't encounter humans at all, do they?
I don't think so. That was ants, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, that was Ants. Came out same day.
That's right.
But no, because I'm remembering the Pixar short that just showed in the beginning.
Oh,
Bug's
yep.
Life? The chess short.
Mm-hmm. Where he's like,
But
yeah.
if I think about it, that was just the short. There were no humans at all. It was all garbage
Yeah.
that they encountered. All right,
Yeah.
all right, I feel that. And then, obviously, in every single, I think it was every single movie after Toy Story, they did the whole pizza delivery truck,
Mm-hmm.
which is in every single movie. Though there is some. Was Cars on there?
Yeah, Cars. It was after Toy Story. It was after Up. So Up is like the kind of the turning point of the, like apocalyptic future, like the crazy future. Up is kind of where
Okay,
it starts.
So Cars is the eventual AI rise.
Yes.
Got it. But yeah, they include the pizza truck. They also include nods to where they went to school.
Mhm.
So I can't remember. It's like CalArts. I can't remember
Yeah.
if it's CalArts or not. But they basically have the classroom that most of them studied in. And then there's one more thing that they always add. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, there's one more thing though. They like usually it's either they add it or they don't. But that's why people are like, oh, well, if you see on the corkboard here, Toy Story. Listen, Toy Story happened before Toy Story 2. Okay,
10 and 13 make 23.
can't have two number ones that make 11. But no, yeah, a lot of the Disney movies and a lot of Pixar movies are all tied together.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I guess that's canon. That's a canon theory.
Yeah, I mean it's canon enough. All right, so
I mean, Final Fantasy is connected to Disney,
yeah, somehow.
technically.
So Disney and Pixar have had a nice little spotlight. Let's go ahead and move on to my personal favorite, Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Oh yes. Before we dive into this one,
This is going to be a light dive. This is going to be a light dive because there will be future episodes on this because I'm so interested in it. We're gonna do it. So
first of all, I wanted to, before we dive into this, I wanted to say, as I was looking online for different ideas for this episode, somebody made a theory
okay.
about not Ed and Eddy. Where the Frasnar was it? It was another post-apocalypse, or not post-apocalypse. It was all oh boy, my brain's killing out.
An apocalyptic?
No, it was in the same vein as Ed and Eddy.
Oh,
Same ideas.
yeah, Purgatory.
Yeah. Recess.
Oh yes, I have seen that one too. Yeah.
Here's why I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let's explain Ed and Eddy.
Okay.
Let's do the start of it. So, do you want to take this? Do you want me to start and then you finish, or what do you want to do?
You can go ahead and start.
Because okay, so backstory real quick. This is our favorite theory of all time. This is kind of what made us want to do the show.
Exactly.
So Ed, Edd n Eddy is a purgatory. It is kind of this area between life and death that kids of different generations died, and then since they weren't ready to pass on, this is where they went. They went to the cul-de-sac, which is their version of purgatory. So we'll dive a little bit more into that here in a second about what generations they are, but I wanted to say the recess one is the same thing, that they're all different kids that died in different time zones, except that can't be, because they're all 1950s stereotypes.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. It says like King Bob is from 1990s.
No.
Who apparently was murdered by a fellow juvenile hall inmate. Like,
Oh my god.
okay, yeah, it's completely out there. But when we were doing research for this video, I saw that, and I just couldn't pass up mentioning it. Okay, so Ed and Eddie Purgatory. Cul-de-sac is the afterlife, a form of it. And yeah, let's go ahead and I'll let you take the reins now.
So I'm going to start off with talking about my favorite characters of this theory. My favorite characters of this theory are the three sisters, the Canker sisters.
The Canker sisters.
They stand out in this theory because they are not kids like these guys are. They're actually a lot of people like to think that they're demons or things that were sent there to kind of torture them, because in a hell or a purgatory, I mean, that's what you're going to have. You're going to have these things that torture you. But I like to see them as kind of like the Sisters of Fate. The Sisters of Fate, they're three sisters, and normally they share one eye. So they have one eye shared between them. But if you look at the sisters, here, I'll zoom on in here, for the video watchers out there, each sister represents a different eye. One sister has one sister has two, and the other sister has 0 showing at all times. Never in the series do you ever see any of their eyes that they don't already have showing. And that really stuck with me because the Sisters of Fate, I mean, they're known for their eyes. That's their telling feature. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt.
You're good.
Like I said, this is one of my favorites.
Yes.
So, yeah, with that, the Canker sisters being these demons, these Sisters of Fate, which we like we said, we like to subscribe to. They're the Sisters of Fate. Come on. They're sisters. They're Canker.
And they kind of do control their destiny in a way, you know? Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it, with them, they can't leave the cul-de-sac, because once they start to leave, what's on any side of the cul-de-sac?
Nothing.
Trailer park.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer park with the Canker sisters. So they're kind of keeping them there. They're, for lack of a better term, they're kind of acting as the guardians of this place.
They're on the outskirts, and that's
that's something that always stuck with me with the show, is that no matter what direction they travel in, they
trailer park.
always trailer park or Canker sisters.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't even make sense, like geographically. You know, how can you end up in the same trailer park every single time?
Yeah. The other thing we should mention is that there are no adults that are seen in this entire show until the end.
Yep. None whatsoever.
And in the end, he's not even that much of an adult. It's Eddie's older brother, and that's it. Yep. So.
Which I have something for that once we get a little bit deeper into it.
Why don't you tell us your favorite one? Your favorite
my favorite one?
Character.
Part of this?
Yeah.
So my favorite character is that Rolf is from the 1920s?
Something like that, like 1900, 1920s. Basically the Great Depression era.
Yeah, the 1920s, 1930s, just the Dust Bowl, you know. He's an immigrant. He comes over with his family. He's ready to farm. He takes his culture with him, brings it to America, and man, darn that Dust Bowl. Poor Rolf. Didn't survive.
Now, I don't really subscribe to the ways that people say that they die. Like, one of them was Rolf got plowed by his that sounds wrong. He got killed by his bull, right? I had to change that. But like, I don't really subscribe. I don't care how they died, at all. It doesn't matter to me. But the time periods they fit, the way that Rolf acts. The only thing that really doesn't match is like his shoes and stuff, and kind of his dress. But I mean, whatever. It's generic.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the entire purgatory kind of, in order to make them think that it's still a, you know, a cul-de-sac that they live in, that would update their clothing. I mean, if we're going based off, I mean, when you go to, like, say heaven or hell or what, you're switching to your proper attire.
Right.
So.
Because I'm sorry, if I die in my birthday suit, I ain't going to heaven in a birthday suit. So.
Oh yeah, no, that would suck, dude. Man, why are you wearing like tight leather? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
And then the idea that Eddie is also around the same time that Rolf is, except he's from New York.
Yep.
He's a New Yorker.
He's a. What do they call those?
City slicker.
Yeah, city slicker. That's the one. He is. He's a.
He's
a wheeler and dealer. Exactly.
Yep. And then you have like Ed, the one with 1B. That he's from the 80s.
Yeah, him and his sister Sarah are both from the 80s.
Yep, because Sarah kind of has that whole not turn of the century, but the whole movement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's powerful. She's in charge.
She's very tomboyish.
Oh yeah, and then Ed is the whole obsession with monsters and monster movies and the
comic books,
like the same era as The Thing from John Carpenter. Which,
yep.
By the way, rewatched, great movie. He's into this sort of stuff. He loves it, and he obsesses over it to kind of a scary degree.
Right.
And I think, if I remember correctly, one of the theories is that like one of like the ways that he died is that he's like some sort of deranged person. I don't know. That was one of the ones that I saw.
What I've heard is that they died in a car crash together, him and his sister.
Yeah. I think that one is a little bit more.
It makes more sense, but
than Ed is a deranged mental case because he likes to watch monster movies.
Right.
But I mean, there was the episode where he dressed up and ate everybody. So, I mean.
But I digress.
And then Double D, from the 1950s, dude. Come on. He's in love with science, and not only science, but like the weird like kid science where it's just all encyclopedias, and they didn't know how to market it, so they're just like, here, there's the science, dude. Take it.
Have some science.
Have some science, and he loves it.
Yep.
Not to mention, this is just something I thought of. Post-it notes.
And Johnny is from like the 60s, I think it was, 60s or 70s. He's the bubble kid, kind of the tuberculosis, the lonely tuberculosis kid.
We might have to change what Double D is from.
Oh.
He might be from the 70s.
Maybe.
Because I was just looking up. I was like, when were Post-it notes invented? Because that is the only way that his parents and him communicated.
Right, he's obsessed with them.
Oh yeah, super obsessed. And then man, that makes more sense because if he's from the 70s, that's also the beginning of like this whole supernatural belief,
right,
where they're starting to use psychic people for cases and whatnot.
Well, see, the other thing that kind of strengthens this theory to me is that like their technology that they have is all different all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean,
they'll have giant CRTs in one, and then they'll have a nice TV in the other, and then they'll have, dial rotary phones, and then one of them will have like a cell phone looking thing. And I mean, and then there's Rolf, who has like a field plow from the 1900s,
And all of their houses look different. I mean, you have some that are very modern. When the show came out, it looked, like any old house. But then you also had Eddie's place, which, in reference to his brother, because he took over his brother's room. But even so, I don't know if you would have grown up in the 90s and wanted, like, 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it doesn't fit with the whole him being from the Great Depression, but it still stands that they're all different.
Yeah.
All the houses are different. Everything's different. It's, with Ed having a washer dryer and some having to wash your clothes with a what is that called?
A washboard.
A washboard. Yeah. And then, some being super interested in TV and outside and sports and whatnot, and then some just talking to a stick.
All right.
Like talk to a big old stick.
I think we're going to leave that at that for now. We'll go into that a little bit deeper on its own episode, because, I mean, honestly, we can talk about all the theories surrounding it and get really into them on a different episode.
Oh, yeah. We'll never stop talking about it.
All right. Is there any other ones you want to talk about?
All right. I mean, there's a million that I'd like to talk about, but is there any that you wanted to bring up real quick? Just kind of...
kind of on this list that we were looking at, there's one about the Fairly Odd Parents, which is kind of neat. Is that Cosmo and Wanda are really antidepressants for him?
Okay.
Yeah. They're only around when he needs them. Arrived when his problems began.
I've also seen that they're imaginary friends that he created because he's being abused by his babysitter.
Yeah, that's... I mean, I'll believe it. His babysitter's kind of an asshole, but...
I mean, is she, though?
Kind of.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Absolutely yes.
And then there's the big one that we kind of skipped over was the Rugrats one.
Oh, yeah. Did you want to take a little dive into that real quick?
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. I don't know too much about it because I don't know if I agree with this one, but I'll let you take this one. Go ahead.
Okay, so the idea with Rugrats is that... let me double check in here. Okay, yeah, so the idea is that Rugrats, everything is inside of Angelica's mind. Essentially, she has a form of schizophrenia? Schizophrenia or some sort of mental illness that makes it so that she creates these figures to help her cope with loneliness. So it's kind of out there, but if you kind of dissociate a little bit and you're just like, okay, let's get in here, let's get into this little headspace. You kind of figure it out. The idea is that Chucky died with his mom. Tommy was a stillborn. Lou and Phil were aborted.
Not Lou and Phil.
Basically, all the...
It's Lou / Phil.
Or Lil and Phil.
Or it's Lil / Phil. It's not both.
Yeah. Which is why they're both the same person, but they're different genders. The idea is that Angelica, she hears these things being talked to by the adults. And she can't understand this. She can't understand mentally, like, take that and process it. So, she can't understand that Tommy's dead. So she creates Tommy. She creates what she thinks Tommy would look like, which is, what a baby would look like. Bald, beady eyes, terrifying. No, not what babies look like.
Close.
Okay. And Chucky dying with his mom, Angelica bases off what his mom looked like, which is red hair, and then, okay, well, what would a boy version of that look like? Well, I know Chaz. Well, or Charles. Is it Charles or Chaz?
They
Charles.
call him both. It's Charles, but they call him Chaz.
So that she bases it off Charles, and also kind of the mother with the personality, and then, I already went over Lil Phil, right?
Sort of, yeah. So the reason that she sees both of them is because they were aborted. She didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, so she just made both. That's not a beer.
It's not. It's right next to my beer. I grabbed it by accident. But no, that's the thought, is that she doesn't know how to cope with this. So instead of getting to what is that term? Like having a conclusion with it, like having some sort of closure. That's the word I'm looking for. She copes, and she these characters in her head that she hallucinates and sees.
Kind of like the Bombshell, whatever that show was called. Oh man, it's not coming to me right now, but there's like this, it's about this blonde girl who makes this crazy world in her head, and she's just doing it to cope.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, you get in the headspace, anything's believable, but this is kind of stretching it. But there's a lot of people that subscribe to it.
The only reason I don't like it is because that Angelica isn't there all the time.
She's not.
Yeah, I would believe it 100% more if she was in every episode the whole time, but she's not.
If she's the main character.
Right. Now, is it in Tommy's head? Maybe.
Maybe. That would make a little bit more sense. Tommy possibly, not being fully there developmentally.
Right.
Goes on these grand adventures with his friends. I mean, I guess that's kind of the thought of the show.
Right.
Which is everything's from the perspective of a big...
Uh-oh. You froze on me. There we go.
Better?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So going on these grand adventures, and then, that's pretty much the entire premise of the show.
Kind of the Courage the Cowardly Dog, but for Rugrats.
Yeah, but then all the outside stuff too, like his dad being this toy inventor, that's just something he imprints on him.
Right.
Yeah. And then all the other characters, like, you don't find out what their jobs are because he doesn't care. He's
a baby. He doesn't give a shit.
he's a BB boy. I mean, I believe with that, like 10 billion%.
Yeah. Way over the Angelica one, but...
Yeah, the Angelica one is... It reminds me a little of the Foster Home one.
Sort of.
But, yeah, we can always save that for
for another time.
Unless we...
Here's my last little quick one I'm going to kind of throw in there. One of my other favorite little shows, that's one of the short shows, is the Pinky and the Brain theory. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
The one that Pinky and
Say it again. Your audio cut out again. Stop bumping your mic.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, nope, you bumped it again. I had to tape mine, so...
How's that?
Okay, better.
Okay. I'm literally not even touching it. Something that's hooked onto it is moving. I might have to get a new cord.
You just have to tape it like I did.
So the Pinky and the Brain one, which is that they're laboratory mice. Their genes have been spliced.
They're Pinky in the Brain, yeah.
Yeah.
But this one's kind of just a little throwaway one. It's a lot. There's a lot of people out there that believe that Pinky is actually the genius, and Brain is insane.
I've heard that one. The amount that I believe in it, not too much.
Well, here's their reasoning. I mean, and when you listen to it this way, I mean, it makes a little bit more sense. So, Pinky, he shows his intelligence many, many times when he has to. He kind of just fixes the problem. And Brain, he repeats his schemes every night, no matter what. Despite how many times he fails, he keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And that's the
That is the
definition of
definition of
insanity.
Yeah.
So,
And it doesn't say
which
which
one?
one's genius and which one's insane. It says one is the genius.
The other is insane.
Yep.
So that was my last little throwaway, just to kind of end off the show
Make you
with.
think. But we'll leave it off with a question to you guys. What theories do you want us to talk about? We can talk about anything.
Literally anything.
So.
Chemtrails, lizard
Oh,
people, Alex
Oh
Jones,
boy.
more
Oh,
cartoons, movies, you name it.
We love cartoons, we love movies, we love everything. So, give us some ideas. I mean, for our viewers on Twitch. I mean, I don't know how you give recommendations on Twitch, but just let us know.
And on YouTube, in the
We'll
comments
always-
below,
Okay.
on SoundCloud, go ahead and leave comments if you can. I don't know how SoundCloud works really, but
I don't either. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, just let us know. You can find me on the internets at MTG Mondays on Twitter, MTG Mondays on Twitch, YouTube, all over the place. Where can they find you at?
You can find me. You can find me on Twitter at Awesome Wyatt, AWESOME, or sorry, Awesome Wyatt, with a T. So AWESOMETWYATT. I have to spell it out, otherwise we can figure it out.
Right.
But you can find me there. You can also find me on YouTube as Awesome Wyatt. It's kind of an account that I use sometimes. And probably other places as Gyro Robable or stuff like that.
So
any combination of
this is also going to be uploaded on the Theories and Beeries YouTube channel. It'll also be uploaded on MTG Mondays YouTube channel. So I mean, you'll be able to find this pretty much anywhere. So just leave us a comment,
exactly.
leave us a suggestion, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time.
Stay skeptical.
Cheers.